So there's this case here. I must have stumbled upon it when I was checking to see the weather or something. But it struck my fancy because it was very badly written. Um, they're looking at the issue of criminal negligence regarding somebody who served fish to an allergic person. Apparently, um, he asked for beef tartar and they gave him salmon tartar instead. And he said he couldn't tell the difference, which is a pretty bullshit excuse, obviously, right? Criminal negligence revolves around the concept of reasonable precaution, right? So, if you read through the comment section here, there's a lot of, concern about whether there was an intent. No, criminal negligence does not, intent is not important in the question of criminal negligence. Well, it is, but you have to define the concept of intent differently, right? So, the intent to be negligent is not the same thing as the intent for the consequences of your negligence, right? So, if I know that I'm driving drunk, right, I might not have any intent to kill anyone, but I have intentionally, put myself in a situation where the consequences of my actions could be quite dramatic for others, right? If I don't do, if I don't carry out the building code, and a floor collapses, I may not have intended for that to happen, but I did intentionally not do something. I didn't change the flooring or something, knowing full well that it was dangerous, right? So the intention, or the concept of intent, is to do with the intent around the precaution, right? And what the argument is that you chose not to take a reasonable precaution, and that's your intent, and that's what criminal negligence is about. Okay. So you don't have to prove a guilty mind in regards to the crime itself or the thing that harmed somebody. But you do have to prove a guilty mind in terms of the negligence itself. It's kind of a hybrid crime, right? It's like a tort, but it has the consequences of criminal law. You could think of it as criminal law that's treated like a tort. And in fact, I actually think that this is the right way to look at the law. It's a better way to look at the law than the whole mens rea thing. As an anarchist, I would like to more or less do away with most law, but I like the tort system because it puts people against each other and takes the state out of it, right? This idea that you committed a crime against the king, in the United States you can remove the word king and insert the word state. It's the same basic thing, right? You committed a crime against. Actually, the state is a better way to think about it, and therefore the state must, like that. This is the social contract that Rousseau erected, right? And as an anarchist, I don't like that one. But if we start talking about tort law, then we're building more of an anarchist, like a proudhonian type social contract, where the contract is between people, right? So I committed a crime against another person, and therefore society, which exists in our current point in history as the state will force me to remedy that, right? But the crime is not against the king, the crime is not against the state, the crime is against another person. Which I know that a lot of people are going to look at that and say that's just intellectual masturbation, but this is the kind of case where it really makes a big difference. Because you could look at something like this and say that there was no crime if you're looking at it from a status type of perspective. But if you're looking at the social contract as being from person to person, well, then that's a pretty big crime for you to serve somebody something that they're allergic to after they told you that. You did not uphold your responsibility to that person to ensure their safety. And I know, why should they have that responsibility? Because of the social contract, which you claim exists with the state, right? So this is a really complex issue, right? Depending on how you look at it. Actually, it's a complex issue regardless of how you look at it, but your perception and your what deduction you come to it and what the right course of action is going to depend a lot on how you approach it, right? So what is at question here is ultimately not whether he carried out an act or not, or even if he did so on purpose. And we talked about that a few seconds ago, but whether he took the proper precautions, that being the act itself, to ensure it didn't happen. The legal question will likely revolve around the discussion he had with the person that actually prepared the food. Did he point out the allergy clearly enough on the order? Right? So let's say the cook gets, the order and, it's like in fine print in the corner, or it's like scrawled legibly or something. Or it's, it's like not really, it's not there at all on the order, right? Or it's on the back of the order or something like that. Well, then you can't fault the cook, right? But if the waiter, circled it, starred it, pointed to it, this guy's allergic to this, and the cook sends it out anyways, well then you need to blame it on the waiter. Although, in fact, I think that the impression I get was that the waiter just kind of pulled it off of it was pre-prepared, right? So the cook isn't actually involved. But I'm just saying in theory, right? But this article is very poorly written nonetheless. It doesn't provide any facts. But I mean, if the waiter did express the allergies with a sufficient level of force and the cook prepared the order, then it would fall upon the cook, right? It's very difficult to see how any judge in any liberal democracy could legally fault the victim for forgetting their epipen, which is what a lot of people in the comments were suggesting. Suggesting that it's okay to serve somebody something they're allergic to, and if they get sick, it's their own fault. Because you can't even categorize that. It's just fuzzy thinking, right? It's just poorly thought out reasoning. No judge in Canada would ever uphold that logic. Okay, but a lot of how you react to this is going to depend on what kind of social contract you feel is best applied. I'm an advocate of the proudhonian social contract, but less so of the one promoted by Rousseau. I do consequently think that the waiter has a moral, legal, and social responsibility to ensure that he does not poison anybody and that he should face collective punitive action by society, which right now means the state, should he not uphold that social contract. This is tricky, but I hope I got the point across.